All right, today, guys, I'm going to go ahead and review the AVO Expressions. This is a 6.5 by 50 Toro. It is Ecuadorian wrapper, Mexican binder, and U.S. and Dominican filler. To pair with the cigar, I have Fortuna Sour Mash, Kentucky Bourbon, straight bourbon whiskey, rare character, barrel proof. It says it is 122 proof. Distilled in Kentucky and bottled by Fortuna Bourbon, Lexington, Kentucky. I'm going to be enjoying that bourbon as an old fashioned. Now, something I'm going to be doing a little bit different today. I came up with my own rating score sheet. Different categories like the look of it, the feel, how it burns, the flavor, the smoke, how the finish is, how the overall cigar. And every little category has subcategories, and every subcategory is out of 5. And then at the end, I get the average of all the scores and I multiply by 2 to make it out of 10. And I just came up with it kind of. I took my time trying to think of what would make sense, trying to be a little bit more consistent with these ratings. So yeah, I'm gonna do it with this AVO, and let's see where we end up by the end of it. Let's get into the cut and light of the cigar. First couple puffs, very earthy, very nutty, very smooth, very light. I'm liking it. Now, I've already kind of messed up because I cut and lit it, and I completely forgot about the whole look category that I wrote down. So like I said, everything is from a rating lowest 1, highest 5. So part of the look is, the first one is it rough and bumpy, or is it sleek and smooth between 1 and 5? And it's pretty smooth looking, nice and shiny, not too many veins. So I'll give it, it's a little wrinkled here. That's what you get with hand rolls, but you know, am I gonna fault that too much? Probably not. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Dislike Vitola or like the Vitola? I do like the Vitola, so I'm gonna do a 5 there. I really like, well, I'm gonna do a 4 because I think you could make the Vitola a little bit more interesting than just a regular Parejo. Color is dull or vibrant, very vibrant. Like I said, I kind of messed up. I didn't look at the foot like I was supposed to. But when I was looking at it before, I didn't think it was dull. I'm just the safe side, I'm gonna give a 3.5 again. And then the band, ugly band or beautiful band. And this, I think, is a gorgeous band, very simple, got the classic AVO, the red, and I guess silver, grayish, black, and the white. That is a beautiful band by all means. So I'm gonna put a 5 for the band, because that is gorgeous. The next category would be feel. Is it uneven or even construction? And usually you want to do that beforehand, because when you burn it, you can notice sometimes when you light up a cigar, it always feels a little softer, close to the actual burn. I'm gonna give that a solid 4. And now we're gonna go into the second part of the actual rating. So there's certain categories: burn, flavor, smoke, and finish. And I've done little subcategories underneath there to kind of give myself an idea of where I want to score them between 1 and 5. And I'm going to repeat those for every third of the cigar, the first, second, and last third of the cigar. But I'm still going to give it a good inch before I really get critical of the cigar. All right, guys, here we are after the first inch. I'm going to go ahead and count this as the first third. And let's go ahead and do a retro hill. A little bit of salt on there, surprisingly buttery on it, very balanced, and seems a little bit more mild, but we'll see once we get into it. Now let's see if my score sheet rating makes any sense to me. All right, so we're talking about the first third, and we're going, the first category is burn. Is it uneven or even? That is, I mean, almost as even as perfect. You can see that. So I'm gonna put a 4.5. And yes, you're allowed to do decimals. I made up the score sheet, So I get to make the rules and do whatever the heck I want. All right. Next, look at the ash. Is it gray or white? Well, it is on the gray side. Not as white as I would like it to look. And I'm going to give it a 3. Because it definitely could look whiter, but it could also look a lot grayer. So let's see. I'm going to give that a 3. Is the pull too loose or too tight? Or is it perfect? So 1 is it's either really too loose or really too tight. A 5 is an absolutely perfect draw. I'm gonna give it a 5 on that draw. And then the next subcategory is, did it keep going out, or did you never have to relight it? First third, I'm not having to relight it, so it's a 5 for me for that part of it. The next category is flavor, and the little subcategory. So is it a bland flavor or is it a bold flavor? There's definitely some flavor behind it. I can catch that. It's not too obvious. It's kind of hard to find, but it's definitely not bland. So I'm gonna do a 3.5 on that one. The other subcategory for flavor is it nasty or is it delicious? And it actually is, quite good. So I'm gonna do a 4 on that one. The next category is the smoke itself. So the smoke. Now, first, there's 2 parts of this to this category. Just looking at the smoke off the foot. I'll puff it. Just the smoke off the foot, burning pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Now, how's the smoke as far as off of the draw? So I'm gonna make that a 4 out of 5. 1 would be very little to no smoke, and a 5 is those big puffs of smoke that you like to see. I'm gonna put a 4. Next category is the finish. Now the finish, a lot of people know that term from like wine or whiskey, or really drinking any beverage honestly, but it's basically the flavor that lingers after the main flavor is gone. Subcategories under that is there any finish whatsoever? With this, there's a little bit of a finish. It's not very obvious. So 1 would be there none. 5 would be it's very obvious. So it's not very obvious, but it is there. I'm gonna give that finish probably a 2. Is the finish nasty or is it delicious? And the finish is honestly, it's not bad and it's not overly amazing. So I'm gonna put another 2 because it's definitely there. It's not unpleasant, but it's nothing special. I don't know why I didn't put this before, but I'm adding a category for the end. What was the ash looking like? Was it super long? So a 5 would be a very long, great ash, and then a 1 would be something that's just falling apart. Forgot to add that on there. All right, here we are, a little past the halfway point, into the second third. Let's go ahead and do the second retro hail. Salt is still there, a little bit of leather there. Now we're gonna do everything we did before, but for the second third. I had to move the camera there because my battery was dying, so I had to get it closer to where I can put the charger on the phone. Also, I thought this might be a little bit better for the light's sake since the light's on this side. So bear with me. Hey guys, here we are in the final third, final retro hail. Salt went away, mostly earthy now. Strength definitely ended up like a 7.5 out of 10. Let's try to do the scoring sheet in the final third. All right, so now the final categories. The final category really was the ash. How was the ash on a rate of 1 to 5? It was really decent ash. I put a 3.5. And then was it harsh or smooth? For the most part, it was pretty smooth. I'm gonna give it a 4. And then hot or cool, again a 4 because it got really hot during the end there, but for most of it was a very cool smoke. So now we have to do math. We have to add up all of these averages. Okay, so the total, I came up with the 135 divided by how many parameters I had, which was 39, gave me a 3.46. And I multiplied that by 2 to get a rating out of 10, and it gave me, rounded up, to a 6.9 out of 10. Well, let's see now. Would I have rated that a 6.9? It sounds right. Honestly, it's actually a little more critical than I think I normally am, but I think I was pretty fair with all the little categories that I did. So yeah, 6.9 out of 10 for the AVO Expressions Toro. Let me know if you agree. If you have a different rating list or a particular method of how you rate your own cigars, nerding out on some stuff like that, go ahead and comment down below, leave me a message, and tell me what you think. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.